Hello guys, welcome to another segment of Flutter Tutorials for Beginners. In this tutorial, we are going to build our project, and this time around is going to be a weather forecasting project with Flutter. We're actually going to rely on everything that we've learned right from the very beginning of this tutorial through to networking, which was our last video. So let's get started. Okay guys, so this is what we are going to build. The weather application is just a two-page weather application. At the extreme left, this is the home screen, and the screen that follows is the wiki screen. So on the home screen, you can see that we have some GMT, that's the time zone, and you are greeted based on the time of the day. And you have this small vertical more icon over here that will lead you to the wiki screen. All right, and when you come here, you can see a current you can see some temperature over here, about 26. So this is the current temperature for the specific location that I am in, with some humidity data and the day and some time and all that. And then you can have you have an hourly forecast that runs from that runs a 24 hours forecast, so from 12 a.m. through to 11 p.m. That very day. And you have a couple of data that is being displayed to you. So when you click on the more icon that leads you to the week screen, you are going to have a weekly rundown. All right, so probably the specific day through to the next 7 days. So yeah, the next 7 days you are going to have a couple of data that takes you the maximum temperature probably you are going to face, and probably the condition of the weather, probably either is going to be partly cloudy, it's going to be a thunderstorm, rain or something. All right, and you are going to have all this description in the app. All right, so this is what we are going to do in this tutorial session. All right, and we are going to make all these, we are going to be calling it from an API. Let me show you the platform that we are going to be fetching the API from. Okay, so in your favorite browser, just search for Open-Meteo. All right, and the first thing on that will appear on the list, just click on it, and it's to send you to openmeteo.com. All right, and once you click that, you're going to see this amazing interface. It has a couple of things to take note of. So you can say documentation, that's probably going to take you to where you'll be able to do your documentation and all that. All right, then we have a couple of things on how you can use the API. So this is forecast and current, all right, data. The last 10 days, you can click on that, you can get the historical data, and there are a couple of data that you can fetch from this API. So the current one, time, temperature, the wind speed and all that, and the hourly one, so you can fetch time, speed and all those kind of things. There are a couple of stuffs, all right, that you can do with the Open-Meteo API. All right, yeah, so when you click on the documentation, all right, and that one gives you an in-depth, all right, of everything that you can do with the API. Okay, so over here, so over here, data source, all right, this is talking about a couple of steps over here, and the API documentation. So the forecast, so forecast dates, all right, 16, so probably I'm being specific for the number of days. And there are a couple of things you can do: an hourly, daily, current, and many other forecasts that you are going to do. All right, this is about the hourly parameter definition. Okay, yeah, so this is the platform that we are going to use. We are going to make use of their API, like I told you, and we are going to create that amazing user interface that I showed you earlier before coming here. Yeah, so let's head over to Visual Studio Code and write some codes to get everything started. Okay, so we are now in our Visual Studio Code. It's running, and you can see the app running side by side. So let's get rid of everything in the home property. All right, so we get rid of the scaffold, and we specify our home class, which we are yet to create. All right, so home screen class. All right, and we are here to create. So let's do that. Let's add yeah, so home screen home screen dot stats. All right, then it's going to make use of a stateful widget where we specify home screen. Okay, yep. So at the moment it's just placeholder. We are going to make use of the scaffold widget, and we can now import it over here. All right, in our main, and we'll specify the debug. All right, we'll set it to false. Okay, yeah, so that is just done. We'll come to the home screen and do a couple of things. All right, so inside our home scaffold widget, we are going to make use of the body property, and the body property is going to be assigned to a container. Okay, and the container we are going to specify height, where we are going to use the media query dot of context dot size dot height. Okay, we'll do the same for the width. All right, so media query dot of context dot size dot width. Okay, now let's specify the color. Okay, we are going to make use of the creation, and we'll make use of the boss decoration widget, and inside there we'll specify our color. We are going to use a gradient, so let me just paste a couple of code over here and let me explain what is happening. So we've imported we've added a gradient property, made use of the linear gradient widget, and specified the begin and the end, and give a couple of widgets, and we specified our colors. We are making of 3 colors, where we have orange being the first color, purple, but I gave opacity to make it light, and we use black at the bottom or the end of it. All right, so once we save and restart the app, we are supposed to see something like this. Okay, so now what we are going to do is let's see what we are supposed to do. We are going to start off and create these widgets. Okay, so it's time zone, we are being greeted, and there's a more there's a container with a more icon that that leads you to this particular screen. Right, so I'm just going to do this particular side. Okay, so we are now back here. There are a couple of things that we want to do. So padding around content. All right, padding around content. Okay, so now let's make it of the chart property, and we'll make use of the padding widget. So edge insert, and we're going to make use of the only, where we specify the top being 60, left being 16, then right also being 16. Okay, yeah, so that being done, inside our padding widget we specify our column. So column starts here, column ends here. All right, so let's make use of the chart property, and we'll call column. All right, and it's going to make use of the children. All right, so now let's specify cross axis property. So cross axis dot is going to be centered, and this is going to center everything. All right, so let's specify what is going to be in the column. All right, so the first is we are going to specify time zone. Okay, grid, and more icon in a container wrapped in a row. All right, so let's specify the row widgets, and inside our row we specify our children, and our row is going to make use of the main axis dot alignment property, which is going to be a space between. All right, now that being done, we can now specify so our time zone and grid in a rich text. Okay, yep, so we can now do that. So let's make use of the rich text widget. So inside here we can specify a couple of things. All right, so the text is going to make use of the text span. All right, widget. And inside our text span we can specify a couple of things like star, and the star is going to make use of the Google Fonts package. I've already added that, so if you've not added it, just do that. Okay, and we'll make use of the Open Sans font. All right, and in here what we are going to specify is just going to specify the height being 1.1. all right, yep, and we can come here and do that. Okay, so now let's specify our children for the rich text. All right, and we are going to make use of the text span. All right, yep, and the first thing we want to specify in our children is going to be the time zone. All right, so time zone in a text span. All right, okay, so now let's specify our text span widget. Text span widget, there are a couple of things that we want to specify. So the first is we're going to specify the text. All right, and we'll probably write GMT. Let's give it a star property, and we are going to specify text style. All right, and a couple of things. So we specify the font size, where we are going to make it use of 16. We'll specify the font weight, where we are going to make use of font weight, and we are going to give a weight of 100, and we'll give it a color, and we'll make use of the color hash code. All right, so so it's 0xff. all right, so that's 1 2 3 4 5 6. all right, and we'll make an opacity just to make it change how we want it to appear. So opacity, and we are going to specify 0.7. all right, so let's do a const over here. Okay, all right, so yeah, so let's just restart the app, and we can see the GMT showing over here. all right, yep. So that being done, we cannot do that of the greet. Okay, so let's do the greet. So over here we'll just pass a comment over here. So greet in a text span. all right, so we specify our text span. all right, and there are a couple of things that we have to do in our text span. So text, we're just going to, what we're going to say is good afternoon for now. Specify our font size. Sorry, we specify our star property and make use of the text star widget. And inside here we specify our font size. And our font size is going to be 20, and we specify our font weight, and our font weight is going to be set to 600. all right, and the next thing is to specify our color, and our color we're just going to copy everything over here. Okay, and just set it over here. Yep, and that will be it. Okay, so when we restart our app, you can see good. So yeah, but let's bring the good even beneath it. So we just use a backward slash. All right, then press N. All right, so that will separate that for us. Okay, yep, so that is just that. Okay, and now, yep, we'll get inside our row. So our rich text. Okay, so inside our row, now let's specify our container, right? So container for more icon. All right, yeah, so let's do that. So we can call our container widget. All right, and inside our container widget there are a couple of things that we can specify. So let's specify a padding. All right, and we'll do edge insert all. All right, and we'll do 2.0. Then we can specify our height, and our height is going to be 40.0 and a width of 40.02 as well. Okay, so that being done, let's do something over here. Just semicolon. All right, yeah, so that being done, we can do our decoration and make use of the box decoration. And there are a couple of things that we will want to specify in the box decoration. All right, the first is border radius. So border radius property, and we'll make use of the border radius widget, and we'll do a circular where it's going to be 100. Okay, yeah, that being done, we can now do our border. All right, border, where we do a border dot all. All right, a border dot all. Okay, that's a problem. So we'll do a border dot all, and we can specify a couple of things. We want to specify our width, where we are going to use 0.4, and we specify our color, where our color is going to be our usual white color. Okay, so it's going to be our color. All right, and we will specify our code, our value. Yep, we just copy everything. Okay, all right, so that being done, then we can now add our more icon. All right, more icon, where it's going to be so we just specify the chart property, and we'll use icon. Okay, we'll make use of the icon widget. All right, and inside here we'll just specify a couple of things. All right, so we specify icons dot more, and we are going to use the vertical one. Okay, so more. All right, yeah, and it's going to be outlined. Okay, then there are a couple of things that we want to specify. So let's specify our color. All right, or just copy the same thing, or we can just copy the same thing and paste it over here. Okay, yep, so that being done, we can reach that up. I would see, so you can see we're done with the top thing over here. All right, so the next thing we want to do is to bring this image. This is just an image in a container. All right, so let's do that. Let's head over to our Visual Studio Code and do that. All right, so we'll move out of our row and still be in our container. All right, and we just pass a comment, container for image. All right, okay, so container for image. All right, so we are going to specify our container. We'll give it container widget. All right, but before we do that, let's wrap the container in a padding. All right, let's wrap the container in a padding. Okay, so let me just copy this and paste it over here, and the container in a padding, I'm just going to do only and then the top is just going to be top of 16. All right, that being done, then we can now do container image. All right, container for image in padding. All right, now that being done, we can now do our container. So we can just specify height of 300, width of about 300. Yep. Then we can give a decoration property, a decoration where we are going to make use of the box decoration widget. I will specify a couple of things. Okay, so image here, where we will specify image. Okay, box image, decoration image, and image property, and we specify asset image. Okay, so one thing I want to make sure is I've already added a folder called assets. Okay, and I have an image folder too in it, and added a couple of two images, cloud image and image.png. All right, so if you come to the pub spec file, I've uncommented this one, will be commented. All right, so I've just uncommented that. All right, and just specify the folder here to asset images. All right, so that's where we are going to pick our images from. All right, so it's the images folder will be in our GitHub repo, so you just have to clone it or get those images and get everything going. All right, so let's specify our image. All right, so path. All right, so add set images, and then we'll specify image.png. all right, so let's do something over here. Okay, comma. All right, so that being done, we can now restart our app and see how it will look like. All right, so yeah, so that is done. All right, our image shows. Okay, so we are going to specify our temperature, humidity, and the day and the time and all that, and that is going to be in a rich text widget. All right, so let's head over to our Visual Studio Code and do that. Okay. So we are now here. So inside our column, all right, so I just have to pass some comment over here. So temperature, humidity, date and time. Okay, in a rich text, wrapped. All right, wrapped in a padding. All right, so let me just copy everything over here. Okay, no problem. So padding cons edge intersect only, and I'll specify top of 16. Okay, all right, so inside here we have to specify our chart. All right, so let me get rid of, yeah, so our chart is going to be a rich text. All right, let's copy our rich text that we created earlier. All right, so our rich text that we created earlier, and yep, so that being done, this time around we have to add a text align to align our text span. All right, so we do a text align dot center. All right, there are a couple of three things in there, so let's do that. So text span. All right, okay, so yep, we can see DMT aligned and all that. So now let's do the real thing. All right, so this is temperature. Okay, so this should be temperature in a text span. All right, and the temperature has, so let's say this time is 36, okay, degrees Celsius or something. And the font size is 75, okay. Font weight is bold, and we are not going to do opacity on this, okay. Refresh. Okay, the second is humidity. All right, humidity, and it's a percentage. All right, so humidity, let's see, yeah, so humidity, then we specify our percentage, so probably 40%, okay. Yep. So our font size is also 20. Our font weight is going to be bold. All right, still the same text color. Okay, and now the last one we are going to do is the current time and date. All right, current date and time, okay. And so probably if today is Tuesday, all right, it's Tuesday 16 full stop, okay. And we specify our time, probably 8:45 a.m. okay. So we don't need the font weight, so we get rid of the font weight, and the font size is going to be 14, okay. And we'll have to give an opacity to our color, so with opacity, we are using 0.7, okay. So if we reach that or refresh the app, we are going to see something like that, okay. Yep. So that is just that. No, so the height for the rich text, we are just going to specify 0.2. All right, 1.2, okay, that's perfect. All right, so now that is just that, okay, for this over here. So we just want to do the hourly forecast text, and the this arrow or keyboard arrow down, then we move to this part, then we are done. Then we can now make use of the API. Okay, so we are now in here. So inside our widgets, inside our column widgets, we are going to create the hourly forecast and the arrow, the keyboard arrow down. All right, but before that, let's go and specify our function, our gradient function that will give that gradient color to our hourly forecast text. So at the top here, all right, so I'll just say function to create gradient text for hourly text, hourly forecast. All right, text. All right, I'll just copy the code and paste it to Y. Okay. All right, so let me explain what we've done. We've created a function which gradient text, which accepts some parameters, so string, double, and font weight, and we are returning a shader mask. Done a couple of things. All right, specified our colors and started with a begin and where it should end, and passed the text widget as a chart to it, and specified what it should. All right, by calling the parameters we passed to the gradient text over here. Okay. All right, so now let's head down to inside our column widget. All right, that should be here, and we'll do something. All right, so we just pass a comment, hourly forecast text, and keyboard arrow down icon in container wrapped in padding. Okay, let me copy everything over here. Okay, so we can now make use of the padding widget. All right, so const edge insect. All right, then we are going to use symmetric. All right, where I'll specify the vertical at probably called 20.0. So that is done. All right. Okay, so inside our padding, let's do something. All right, so we'll make use of a row, okay, widget, and inside our row specify our children. Sorry, so call chart, yeah, and then we'll specify main as x dot alignment. Main as x dot alignment is going to be space between, and now we can specify our stuffs. Okay, so hourly forecast text. All right, so we'll call our gradients text, and we specify a text of we'll call it hourly forecast. All right, the font size just going to be 20, and the font weight is going to be font weight dot bold. All right, font weight dot bold. Okay, so that is just done for the hourly forecast. Now let's specify our container for the keyboard arrow. So container for keyboard arrow down. All right, and then we can do all that. So container widgets. Okay, and inside here we can do our padding const edge insect or 2.0. then next we can do is just specify the height 30.0, weight 30.0. then we can do our decoration, boss decoration, and then we can do color. All right, so color is going to be const color. All right, and we specify our value 0x. All right, just going to be ff. All right, 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right, and then we can specify our border radius. Our border radius is going to be circular, and it's going to be 100, so that we have that circular thing around it. All right, so inside here we can just keyboard arrow down icon, and we call it so chart icon. All right, and specify icons dot keyboard arrow down, and we use outline. All right, let's specify our color. We use colors. All right, sorry, so color, and our hash code 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so let's do this, and restart or refresh the app. Perfectly, that is done for us. Okay, so the next thing is we are just going to do this, and we are done with the home screen. Then we can now consume everything, the data from the API. All right, yeah, so let's head to Visual Studio Code and do that. Okay, so now we are back here. So we are inside our column. We are going to make use of expanded widget. All right, so expanded widget. All right, okay, and it takes in the chart property, and we are going to make use of the list view dot border. Okay, Alright, so in here the border is going to take in some things. Alright, so we're going to make use of the context. Alright, and we're going to call the index. Okay, and we just do this, then we'll return a container widget inside it. Okay, so let's do a couple of things. Alright, so inside our list view.border, alright, let's do a couple of things. Okay, so we want to have a pattern. Alright, const edge insect dot so yeah, and we'll do 0.0. That being done, we can do an item count. Right, and we want to specify the total count. At the moment we just set it to 24. All right, okay, so inside our container, let's do a couple of things. Okay, we'll specify our pattern, const edge insect, then we'll use dot only. Okay, bottom of 12 and top of bottom of 12 and top of 5. All right, then we can do a width. All right, the width is just going to be media query dot of context dot size dot width. Okay, now let's do a decoration. Let's give some decoration to our container. Okay, box decoration, and then we specify our border. I realize that there's a border, all right, at the bottom of the list that we saw by the hourly forecasting over there. So border, we just specify border, then we do bottom. All right, and we can specify border side. Okay, and we just have to specify the width, which is going to be 0.4, and the color, we are just going to use color height. All right, still using hex code. All right, 0 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, let me do something. Let's get rid of this. Sorry. Okay, yep, so that is done. All right, so border box decoration. All right, so inside our container we can do a chart. All right, so that is going to display the hour humidity, and then we specify and the temperature. Okay, and temperature using text. All right, using text in a row. All right, so we specify our chart and we are going to use a row. Children. Okay, we're going to do main as dot space between. Okay, yeah, so now let's do the first chart inside our row widget, and the first is just going to be the hour. Okay, so we are making use of the text widget, and there are a couple of things that we want to specify. So let's say it's 12 here, style, we are going to use Google font dot open sans. Okay, and we can specify a couple of things like the font size. We are going to use 20.0, font weight, and the font weight is going to be 500, and we specify our color. Our color is going to be color height. All right, so let me just copy everything over here. All right, so that is just that for the text, for the hour widget. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to specify a column. All right, for the humidity. All right, so column for humidity. All right, so inside here we just wrap this in a column. All right, and we'll do some things. All right, so we do column, we just do cross axis to start, cross axis dot start. Okay, and the first thing we are just going to do is just so we say just say humidity text, and we're just going to write here humidity. All right, okay, I will just copy this, then we'll specify the humidity probably value or so. All right, and it's just going to be, so let's do a couple of things. All right, the humidity test is just going to be 14 font size. All right, 14, and we are not going to specify font weight. This is just going to do with opacity, and it's going to be 0.7. okay, and the humidity, which is going to be a percentage value, so let's say 76 percent. All right, yeah, 76%, and it's just going to be, so open sans, font size is going to be 20. All right, the font weight is going to be the same 500. Yep, and that is just that with this. Okay, we'll move outside the column. All right, and we'll specify temperature. Okay, and it's also going to be a text widget, so let me just copy this. Okay, and paste it over here. So the temperature, we can just say 32, okay, degrees Celsius. All right, the font size is going to be 50, and the font weight is going to be 500, and the color is going to be the same. We save it. We should have a list of about we give a limit of about item count of about 24, so we should have about 24 being listed under the hourly forecast for us. Do that. Yeah, we can see it. All right, they are having the same value at the moment. All right, yeah, so that is that with this. Okay, all right, so we've done everything, just the UI work and all that. So now we want everything to we want to rely on a couple of functions, all right, to fetch from the API, and just instead of uh, hard coding these things, it will rather be fetching from one API. Okay, so let's actually do that. Okay, let's actually do that. All right, to get everything well sorted. Okay, so we are now back here. There are a couple of packages that we want to import. All right, and we will be fetching the data from the API. All right, so the first we want to do is we just want to import the package HTTP. All right, so import. All right, package. Okay, HTTP. All right, okay, this. All right, and we'll do as and h um, TTP. Okay. All right, and then we have to import the dats convert. Okay. Dats convert. Okay, and then we'll import the international intl. All right, so import and package intl. Okay, yeah, and we'll do that over here. Okay, so do what to add these packages if they are not part of your dependencies. All right, so once that is done, then let's create some variables. Okay, let's create some variables. So we'll create some variables here. Okay, so the first variable we are going to create is a map. We are going to create the data variable. All right, which is going to be a map, and yeah, takes in a string, and then it's going to be dynamic. It's going to be dynamic. All right, and then we'll do the second one, which is going to be a list. It's going to be dynamic. Okay, and this we are going to call it hourly times. All right, okay, so we are going to copy this and probably paste it like 3 times. All right, so this is trying to show you that the hourly times beneath the forecast. All right, we'll do some, and the next one is going to be hourly temperature. And this other one is going to be the hourly humidity also. All right, humidity, probably humidities. All right, hourly humidities, and we guess temperatures. All right, that is done. Then we do another variable string, which is going to be time zone. Sorry, and we are going to do string for the greetings. Then we'll do another string for the formatted dates. All right, we'll do another string for formatted time. All right. Yeah. So that is just that with the variables that we need. All right. Ensure that I have the map data, the hourly times, the hourly temperatures, the hourly humidities, and then your time zone greetings, formatted dates, then formatted time. All right. So we write our function to fetch from the API. I'm not going to write that much code. I'm just going to paste it over here. Okay, that's a problem. Let me fix that. This is greeting and not greetings. All right. So let me explain what is happening. This API will actually be available in the description below. So no problem. All right. So we are converting the URL to URI objects. All right. And then in our if statement we do a set state. Okay. And then yeah, so we assign the hourly times to the data. All right, the data list that we created over here. All right, then we are fetching so making use of the hourly time, and we fetching the 24. We are fetching 24, a sub list 24. All right, so this will give us from 12 a.m. to 11 p.m. All right, each day. And we are doing that for the same thing for the temperature, same thing for the humidities. And then for the time zone, yeah, so we created an instance of it, the data times yeah, time zone, time data, time zone. All right. And then we do that for the greetings. So yeah, if it is less than 12, we greeted in the good morning. If it is less than 17, which is 5 p.m. that very day, you're going to be greeted good afternoon, or anything above that, that means that good evening. Okay. Yeah, and we formatted our date to suit us, so this is going to show the day and the date itself. All right, and formatted the time, so hour, minutes, and either am or pm you are going to be greeted. If nothing at all works, then you are going to receive an error. Okay. Yeah, so that is just that with everything that we've done. Okay. Okay, so we can now add our init state to it. All right, so we pass fetch data to it. So just type init, enter, and at the top, all right, or probably let's clear this and just pass fetch data to it, and that's it. We are done. So now we can provide our details. Okay, so let's come here. The first thing we want to do is we just want to get rid of the GMT. All right, so okay, so we use time zone, and that's it. We can refresh first. It will show now and to change. All right, so it showed now and it changed, no problem. We will fix that with the loading circle very soon. So let's do that for the good afternoon that's hard coded over here. I'm just going to call the greeting. All right, okay, yep, and that is just that. Wait, and we just refresh to change. Okay, so it's not changed to good one because at the time of recording it's about 3:55 a.m. All right, yep. So we keep going. So now let's change the temperature over here. Okay. So I'll come to the temperature, and I'm just going to paste the code. All right, I'm just going to paste the code. Okay, and I'll explain it. So we just we are making use of the data list we created. We are using the currents from the API, temperature 2m. So we did a to string, then we did a substring of 0, 0 and 2. So that means that any decimals of 2 behind should be taken off, then degrees Celsius, and that's it. So we just add our const here, and this should display the current temperature of where I am currently. Okay, so you see where I am is currently about 18 degrees Celsius, no problem. All right, and the current humidity. So let me just copy everything here. Let me just copy everything here. Okay. You know what? Okay, no problem. I'll just do this and then get rid of a couple of things. All right. So we are using percentage. All right. And this shouldn't be available. Okay. And this is relative humidity, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so relative humidity. Let's fix that as quick as possible. Yep. The humidity test has to humidity. All right. So this should also display current humidity to us. Okay. And here we go. All right. So the current humidity is about 79. All right. So the temperature, this current humidity. Okay. And what we can do again is we don't even need two substring two strings or so. Okay. Yeah. So we can do the format date, the date and the format date. Then all right. Don't worry. I noticed that you noticed that before the screen loads, all right, there's a problem over there. Yeah, we'll add a loading circle to that to fix that problem. So we'll call the formatted date, okay, and the formatted time. Formatted time. All right. So just restart. And yep, today is a Saturday, 20th. It's about 3:45 a.m. as at the time I was recording this video. All right. Okay, so that is done. Now, what is left is for us to do the necessary thing under there, hourly forecast. All right. So yeah, we come to the expanded. And there are a couple of things that we are supposed to do. So the item count, we are going to use the hourly times. Okay. And yeah, dot length. Yeah. So that is what we are supposed to do first. So we're done with that. Now we can come inside our container and just pass a couple of things over here. All right. So for the hour, what we will do is we'll just use date format. All right. Date format. Okay, and we will just specify the date format. So we are using just the hour. All right. We're just using the hour. We want it to either be displaying AM or PM, and we just specify our format, how we want the format to appear. So we now pass our data to it. Okay, and we'll use date time. Okay, and we specify so date time dot pass. Sorry, date, and we specify what we want to display. Okay, so we are using the hourly times. Okay, and then exclamation, we'll put here, and then we'll call the index. All right. Okay, so with this done, we should have a couple of hours being displayed for us. Okay, so let's do that. So instead of all being 12, all right, so we can get from 12 through to 11 p.m. All right, so now let's, since this is done, we can do that for the humidity and do the same for the temperature. All right, so let's get to the humidity side. Okay, for humidity, we just want to get rid of this $sign hourly humidities. All right, exclamation, then we call the index. Okay, sorry, let's put everything in the curly brackets. Yep, and then we can do a dot to substring. Okay, and then we can put a percentage somewhere. Now the percentage should be outside. Okay, so if you refresh, various humidities for the various times should show. All right. This was actually supposed to be up here at a different place. All right, so it should be here instead of here. So let me just quickly revert that. All right, and just paste this over here, refresh. So we'll have various humidities, all right, for various times. All right, yep. And now let's do that for the temperature. Okay, let's do that for the temperature as quick as possible. So what I'll do is I'll just copy what I just copied. I'll paste it over here and just change it to hourly humidities. Okay, and this, let me just go and bring the temperature sign to degrees Celsius. All right, I'll come here and just do this. All right, so I can refresh. All right, so I get different temperature for whatever hour and all that. So we are done. All right, let's fix. You realize when I refresh and restart the app, it shows that now before. All right, so let's do that and fix that with a loading circle. All right. Okay, so for the loading circle, there's not going to be that much thing that I'm going to do. I'm just going to paste a code and explain what is happening. All right, so over here, I'll just paste the code over here, no problem. Yes. All right, so let me just put a colon. So container for all content. Now let me explain what is happening with the loading circle. So I gave a background. All right, so yeah, I gave a container to it, a background color, the same gradient color, and then we centered our content we want to be in that particular container. We gave another container with a different color of black, and gave a circular progress indicator for the loading circle, and gave a color to it of white. So if you refresh, instead of showing that particular page of now, a loading circle is going to happen before the image is shown. So it's not going to show that red with the now. All right, so let's do that. And we get to see that. Did you see that? Let me refresh. So you see, yeah. So that's what ours. referring to. All right, awesome. So the next thing is to ensure that when we click here, the more icon over here, it should send us to a page, all right, where we will see the weekly data. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we just have to add a particular page to it. All right, so we'll add a week screen. Okay, and there's going to be a stateful widget. We'll call this week screen. All right, yeah, and we're just going to use scaffold. Okay, all right, so that is added. Okay, so now let's come here. Let's come to the home screen. At the home screen, we want to ensure that when you click the more icon, it will take you to the week screen. Okay, so let's do that. So this is the container for the more icon. You just want to click here, wrap it in a widget, and it's going to be a gesture detector. All right, and inside our gesture detector, you specify the on tap. Okay, and it's just going to take in something. All right, so I'll paste the code over here. All right, so you can see I just have to import the home screen that I created. All right, and that is just that. Okay, so once I click on the more icon, it should send me to the week screen. Okay, all right, so let's do that. Okay, so once I click on that, it sends me to the all right. So now let's look at what we are supposed to do in our week screen. Okay, so in the week screen, the first thing is so our background, we use a container, and then so navigate back this image, then there's a text for beneath it, and then before this data and all that. So let's do that. Okay, so let's do that. So there are a couple of things that we want to do, all right, to the navigation, but we'll copy a couple of codes over here. So let's do that. Okay, so over here inside this thing that is in the container here, let me just copy. We come to the week screen, and over here we'll call the body property and call the container widget, and we can paste the code that we pasted. All right, so now let's change a couple of things. All right, so the colors, we need to change the colors. All right, so the first one we are going to do is so 4B 0082. All right, and the second one we are going to do is 937. All right, 0dB, and the last one is of course going to be the color black. All right, let me just fix this over here. Okay, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Okay, all right, so once you navigate to the week screen, you should see that's perfect. All right, the next thing we want to do is put a padding over here. All right, padding around the contents. All right, and we can make use of the chart property and call the padding widget. All right, so let me just copy everything over here. All right, so we copy everything over here inside here and bring it. Okay, so inside our padding, we want to make use of the column widget. So column starts here, column ends here. Okay, then we call the chart property and make use of the column. Okay, inside the children, we'll do a cross axis. Okay, cross axis, and it's going to be cross axis the stats. All right. Okay, now let's do this. We want to create a function. All right, we want to create a function at the beginning of the week screen. So let's do that. That we'll use to navigate back. All right. Sorry. So function to navigate back. All right. So void navigate back function. Okay. I will use the navigator dot of context, right, dot pop. Okay, and that is just that. So once that is done, we can now come inside our column and do the necessary thing that we want to do. Right. So what we are supposed to do is, this is a row, so we create a row that takes in the container where there's navigation back, keyboard arrow left, and yeah, the image and the text. All right, so let's do that. So the first thing is to create a row, and inside our row, we'll call our children, and we call the main ASICs. I use a space between, and inside our main axis. All right. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is make use of a container. All right. So we'll do another row. And we'll call our children too. And over here, before we can do our container, all right. So it's just going to be here is going to be main assist, and it's going to start. All right. Yep. So inside here, our container. So the container is going to take in a couple of things. We specify our pattern, const edge insert all, and we're going to give it a value of 2.0. Our container is going to take height, and a height of 30.0, width of 30.0, and we'll do a decoration, boss decoration, and we are going to specify a couple of things. All right, so we specify our color, and we are going to use the color hash code. All right, so 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and we can make use of the border radius. To border radius, that circular, and we use 100. Okay. All right, so let me just refresh, and we can see that. Okay, so inside our container, we'll make so let me pass a comment over here. Container for keyboard arrow left. All right. Keyboard arrow left. Okay, so I'll just call the chart, and then const icon, inside here we specify icons icons dot keyboard arrow left. All right, then we specify a couple of things. So we specify our color. Okay, same hash code 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right, so this is black. Okay, and you can see that appearing over here. All right, so that is just one. So inside the second row that we created, all right, yeah, so now specify our text. Okay, and the text has to be in a pattern. All right, so back back text in a pattern. All right, so pattern const edge insects only, and then we use left. Then we use 8.0. That being done, all right, we can call the chart. All right, so back text. All right, we'll call the chart and make use of the text widgets, and there are a couple of things that we want to do. We'll call the back text. All right, style. Of course, we're going to use Google Fonts. Open sans are okay, and then we'll specify a font size of 20. We specify the font weight, and the font weight is going to be bold. Then we specify the color. All right, and the color is going to use color height. All right, so let me just copy everything. Yep, and that is done. Okay, so now let me pass this container. All right, let me wrap it in a gesture detector. Okay, so we wrap this container, the widget we are going to make use of a gesture detector. Okay, and we call this in gesture detector. All right, so here we can specify our on tap. All right, on tap is just going to be navigator. Navigate back function, and that's it. So let's refresh or restart the app. Okay, so now if I click here and click it back, it should send me. That's interesting. All right, so it pops and it goes back. All right, yep. So the next thing we want to do is just bring an image. All right, there's this particular image over here. Okay, that's what we want to do. So I just come to the home screen. We brought in an image, so let me just copy that. It is in a container. Okay, so that should be in the first row. All right, that should be in the first row. So container for image, and we just paste it over here. All right, so the height is going to be 15, and the width is going to be 15, and I'm not going to use image. All right, I'm just going to use an image called cloud. All right, if you come to the assets images, there's a cloud.image over here, a cloud image over there. So just save it, restart the whole app or something, go here and you can see it over here. All right, that's excellent. So the next thing we want to do is there's a calendar icon before this week. All right, so let's do that. So that is going to be in a column after the row. So row for calendar and this week test in pattern. All right, so let's do that. Pattern. All right, const edge insect only. We'll do top. All right, then we'll do 20.0. Okay, so that being done, we can specify our chart. All right, we can specify our chart. Okay, so let me just, which is going to be row. All right, okay, so our chart is going to be a row, and the main ASICS alignment is going to be start. All right, sure. And yeah, and let's specify our children. And inside here, the first thing we want to do is so the calendar. All right, the calendar icon. Okay, so const icon. All right, icons dot so calendar month rounded. All right, calendar month rounded. There are a couple of things we want to specify for this. Okay, we want to specify the color. It's going to be a color of height and all that. So let's do this. And we specify our font size. Sorry, we'll specify our size rather. 30.0. Okay. That is good. Now inside let me refresh. All right, so over here we can specify this week text. All right, so I'll just copy the back, yeah, everything we did over here, and just come and paste it over here. Okay, then we say this week. All right, the W is a capital. All right, so yeah, open sans. Let's change the font size, which is going to be 24. It's going to be bold. It's going to be colored. Let me rave. That's awesome. All right, okay, let's wrap the text in a pattern to give some space. All right. Okay. All right. In a pattern only. All right. Left. Okay. Which is also going to be 8.0. No problem. All right. So okay. So now the next thing is to do a couple of things and get to all these things. Okay, all right, so let's head over and do that. Okay, yeah, now let's go to the top and do a couple of things. All right, okay, so over here we just pass a comment and say variables. All right, so now let's declare our variables. All right, the first one we're going to make use of is the map. Okay, and the map is going to take in a string dynamic. Okay, and it's going to be we're going to call it data. All right, the second one is going to be a list, and we are going to call this dynamic. Okay, um, we'll call it daily temperature. Daily temperatures. We'll do another list. Dynamic. We'll call this daily dates. All right. Then we'll do another list. Okay. Dynamic. And we call this daily weather condition. All right. Daily weather codes. Sorry. Okay. So that is done. All right. So now I want us to do something. All right. We've not created our function yet, but we'll do our init state. Okay. And we'll pass fetch. We'll pass fetch data to it. Okay, which we are yet to create. For that, I'm going to page the code and explain everything about here. Okay, no problem. Okay, we need to do a couple of imports. All right, so let me go here to the top and just copy this. All right, these three in, and we are good to go. All right, and we can see that there's no problem. Anyway, we don't need this. Okay, don't worry, we might need it. So let me just leave this. So like equally the same thing, fetch data. This is our API. This time around we are fetching the daily one given temperatures, and we are making use of the mass temperature in the weather codes. All right, to use to that determine the weather condition. All right, if statements. Yep, right. We are decoding JSON, decode it, and all that. And if there are problems, print error. Now we write a variable over here that takes in that we are calling it this is a function. All right, we are calling it get weather description, and we've passed the weather codes to it, and we are saying that if it is 0, based on the codes, all right, so clear weather, then we are using switch keys for them, so clear, partly cloudy, fog, and all that. So based on the weather codes, all right, we are going to get this. Okay, all right, else it's going to return unknown or something. Okay, so that's been done. Now let's do this. Let's get the data for this. All right, then we are good to go. All right, so the next thing is the first thing we want to do is let me just come here and copy these. So copy this. Okay, I'll come here and paste it. All right, we'll do a couple of changes, so don't worry. Okay, let me container for content. All right, so we want to change the color. All right, because it's going to take the old color. Okay, we just used a const over here. Okay, so if there are no data, if I try to refresh or restart, so I'm going to get a loading cycle. All right, so let's do that and see. If you go here at the moment, yeah, okay, so yeah, so that being done, we can come inside our column. So we'll come inside our column and use a couple of things. You're going to use expanded, like we've done over here, like we did over here. So we use expanded, and we'll call the expanded widget. The expanded is going to take the list view builder, which will specify our context and specify our index. Alright, and it's going to return a container. Alright, let's do a couple of things, okay, like we did over here too. Let's copy these things. We might not be using hourly times, alright, we'll use something else. It's no problem. Item builder on top of item builder. Okay, so we will be using daily dates. All right, we'll be using daily dates. Okay, and inside our container, we are not going to specify what is going to be inside our container. All right, because we are going to fetch the date, the weather condition, then the temperature. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste the code inside here and explain what is happening. All right, okay, so everything I pasted in over here. Okay, so I gave a pattern inside the container. All right, so bottom of about 12 and top of 15, and the width is going to take the screen size. A border for, like we do, there's a border around each. All right, it's this line. Okay, it's having as a border. Okay, and then is a row. So the row for the day, the weather condition, weather partly cloudy, raining, or so, then the temperature. All right, so and we did space between. So the first text widget takes in the day. All right, so we just want the day, and for this time around, yeah, daily dates. Okay, we did some formatting up there. Let me show you. We did some formatting up there. Okay, there wasn't any formatting that I did over here. Okay, no problem. So yeah, so the day we are getting the weather condition. All right, okay, so this is specifying the day. All right, and yeah, so this is specifying the day. Then we got the weather condition. All right, to show you that it is raining, cloudy, or so. Then this is getting us the temperature. Of course, substrings, anything of 0.201 or something, we don't need it. All right, so yeah, so we can just save it, restart or refresh the app. Okay, so currently it's so Saturday 4:45. All right, yeah, so this is the weather condition, the temperature currently. And once I navigate to this week screen, all right, so we can see that. All right, so today being Saturday, it's partly cloudy, all right, at the moment, and Sunday, and these are the maximum temperature we are going to get. So it starts from Saturday today to Friday the following day. All right, yeah, so that is just that, my friends. This is what we've done. All right, this was what we wanted to do. This is what we wanted to do, and we've implemented the same thing, segregated, all right, based on the time of the day, You get a current weather condition and a couple of data. Okay, your time is displayed. You get various hourly forecast, and when you go to the more page, all right, you can get various forecast for each day of the week. All right. Yep. So let me just chip in, friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for others to know what we'll be learning. All right, we've been learning over here. See you in the next video. we Unfortunately, we are done with this tutorial, so the next videos is probably going to be other projects. All right. And I'm looking forward to coming out with a couple of nice projects that makes use of API, AI, and others. All right. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for others to know what we are learning. See you in the next tutorial.